Hey fellow movers, did you know you could release your tight hips simply by sitting on the ground and rotating through those hips? I'm going to take you through a little sequence here. Follow along. So we're going to begin in a wide-legged crab position. It's important that we glue both sit bones down flat to the ground. The pelvis stays flat and still. Then pull both knees wide in order to engage the glutes and stretch open those hips. Next, we want to internally rotate through that left hip, pulling the left knee and the big toe in towards the center. As the left side of the pelvis is glued down, then both knees pull wide before repeating on the right side. This is active internal rotation at the hips, so engage through the hips, through the inner thighs, through the glutes, as one knee pulls to center and then pulls as wide as possible. As that right knee comes into center, the right side of the pelvis is going to want to lift. Don't let it, fight it, and keep it glued down to the ground. Keep the torso still and perform about 3 to 5 repetitions on each side. Next, we'll move on to external rotation at the hips. You're going to glue down the entire outside of the left leg to the ground and allow the right side of the pelvis to lift. Then shift and rock over to the right side, gluing down the entire right leg to the ground. Here we want to engage the glutes very firmly so that we can keep the knees pulling wide as possible, as we attempt to get one knee all the way down to the ground as the opposite side of the pelvis rises up. The knees pulling wide, the glutes firmly engaged, the heels are digging down into the ground. Go slowly with this exercise. Perform anywhere from 3 to 5 repetitions, but hold as needed in order to ensure that the gluteal muscles are finding this exercise, are engaging as you move. Now we're going to move on to a 90-90 position. Here, performing active internal rotation of the back leg, the right leg. You can reach your hands down to the ground, hands on either side of your left thigh, to make it a little bit easier. But you will drive down through that right knee and lift the right heel. It's a small lift and it's for about 10 repetitions. The knees and hips are both positioned to 90-degree angles. The breastbone and navel square off towards the left thigh. Next, we're working hip external rotators on the left side. We're engaging through the left glute, driving the left leg down into the ground. Hands will touch down to the ground as needed to make it easier, but we want to fold over top of that left thigh, bringing the breastbone down towards the thigh, and then driving that left thigh into the ground, engaging the left glute. We'll extend at the hips and return to an upright torso. Whether you're hinged forward at the hips or completely upright through the torso, that left glute is active, it's engaged, it's driving the left outer leg and knee down into the ground, as if to break right through the ground. Perform 10 repetitions, and then open the hips up slowly. Right knee opens wide, keeping the left outer leg glued down, then returning to center before driving down through the entire outside of the right leg, keeping the left knee wide. Finally, internally rotating that left knee into the center. And now we're in the 90-90 position on the other side. We'll perform our active internal rotation of the left hip. Hands touching down to make it easier. We're engaging through left glute, driving down through left knee, lifting up left heel, and trying to drive the left hip forward. 10 repetitions. Finally, we're performing external rotation, right hip, right glute firmly engaged in order to drive the outside of the right leg into the ground as we hinge forward at the hips with a long spine, neutral. Then extend at the hips to bring the torso back to the upright position. Constant activation in the right glute in order to drive right leg into the ground and in order to extend at that hip and come back into the upright torso position. And again, you can perform 10 repetitions. I hope that made your hips feel a little more happy today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd like to see more hip mobility, click on my playlist in the top right corner. And don't forget guys, keep moving naturally for life.